You are a person that's been like, I don't have time to cry today, I'll cry tomorrow. That's a great thing to put into the work because it's so true. You feel, you empathize, you sympathize, you're compassionate. Those are great skills, but they're not often celebrated in the cubicle. And so, if you do want to do this type of work, be kind with yourself because it might take a few weeks or months to get to the level of comfort where you're like unabashedly emotional. And then, if you've ever had a loss or a birth of a new baby or something that's really like made you raw for a moment, and for like the next 2 weeks you're crying at every commercial on TV, you're like, I don't know, they called their grandma. You're like, yeah, no, for sure, and that's an effective advertisement. That becomes part of the way you can choose to exist. You keep your finger on the pulse. You keep vulnerable. You keep absorbing. Which, not to say is the funnest way to exist on Earth, because it means you feel. You feel a lot. But if you can feel a lot and learn from that feeling, learn and understand what it's like for you to feel, then when you lend it to those characters, they're going to feel as vibrant and as alive as they deserve to be through and because of you. So that's a bit of like, big stuff. But at the minutia level, how do you be a voice actor? Well, you do voice work. You try it out, right? You take out your phone, you record a memo, or maybe you have a USB mic and you just dutifully listen to how it went and go, do I sound like me, or do I sound like I'm trying to be something else? Do I sound like I'm talking to someone, or do I sound like I'm talking at people, not too concerned about whether or not they're taking notes? I think obviously the most important would be that you do think you sound like you, and that you do sound like you're talking to someone. After that, it's just skill development. You find out you've got for you, a physiological challenge that is, weaker in some aspects of your diction or articulation than other people, then you do the tongue twisters that are hard for you, right? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers is easy for you, then you do She Sells Seashells Down by the Seashore. Until you find the ones that are hard for you, and then you're like, damn, that's hard for me. Now I have to do that one every day for like a week or two until it's not. Because what am I doing? I'm making sure that I'm getting stronger so that my whole offering is stronger. Because, the old adage, the weakest link in your chain is, where you need to put the most effort. So if you are a person that doesn't breathe deeply, you breathe into your shoulders, cool. That's easy, solvable stuff. You breathe deeper, you get used to it, you go, oh wow, this big pear-shaped thing I'm doing, so attractive, yes, okay, love it, but it's power. And when you've got power, then you've got empowerment. Then of course you just start to let it go across the vocal folds instead of crunching it here, hoping that just the shoulders and neck is going to be enough. And that's what I started doing in Dragon Ball. Hurt myself, tasted blood, had to take a break, all the things, young person stuff. And then from there you go, right, if I want to get good at this, then I need to put in the work. And I think everybody's, at the time in their life where, the things I care about, I'm going to put in the work. So if it's strengthening, if it's breathing, if it's being emotionally present, if it's intellectually dissecting copy or script so that you can kind of have a sense as to what's going on. Something I just learned recently that is possibly affecting some of the people in this room that some people do not imagine. They do not see pictures or scenes in their heads. That's different than my reality. I certainly do. I see pictures vibrantly. I can make a movie scene happen in my head. I can recall things. I don't have necessarily a photographic memory, but I see vibrantly in my mind, and I feel that that's really helpful to the way I process. But I've also met people that do not have any imagery that happens in their mind, and everything in between. So there's an experiment that you can do right now to just kind of test yourself. If I asked you to picture a red apple, if you can see a red apple in your mind, then you probably have a pretty vibrant imagination sector. Some people will see the outline of an apple, but it won't be red. Some people will see absolutely nothing in their imagination, and they'll be much more closer to the 1 or 0 out of the scale of 10 for that. So that's great for all of us to realize that we are wired so uniquely and differently, and yet I've met people that have no imagination and are incredible VAs, and I think that's fascinating because I don't work that way, but that means it can work. And that for anybody that is interested in voiceover, it's really about what kind of work do you want to do, and then you can put up your hand, I'll tell you where you kind of go to do that and what kinds of exercises you want to do to get better at that. And if you're interested in audiobooks and long form, I'll tell you right now, the one thing I would suggest you do before anything else is stop being afraid of breathing. Voice actors often will go, okay, I'm ready. Now I'm going to do the work until my voice runs out and then I don't have any breath left. And we get it? We got it? Okay, great. Fine. For short work, if you want to do that, I don't care. But in long form, like narration and audiobooks, You breathing while we're listening to you, while you're working and you're breathing like a natural person actually creates a really nice relationship. I don't mean, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And then the monkeys arrived. I just mean, as I'm talking to you and I'm breathing right now, I just took a breath while I was talking. It's not distracting, it's actually part of the way we communicate. If you get comfortable with that, the work is going to be so much less taxing. It's going to be so much less editing. It's going to be so much less frustrating because you're not going to be at odds with your body. And most VAs find that for the first 5 or 10 minutes, their body is a bit rebellious because it's a bit of a, constructed facade to stand in front of a thing and have a whole world happening while you just do this. But after 5 or 10 minutes, the body usually balances, normalizes. And if you can remind yourself that you're supposed to have a big beach ball belly of air and that it goes all the way around, you can feel it in your lower back as well. If you take a big breath in, you won't just feel your stomach expand, you'll actually feel the expansion between your hips and your lower ribs. This is power. This is security. When you see a paragraph and you're like, can I do this? Well, not only do you not have to do it in one breath, but you get your power, you start going, and where you need to or where you want to for emphasis and punctuation, you take a natural breath. Nobody's mad. Nobody's mad that you're a human talking to other humans, except for the AI, and they're coming for you. So, I've got 12 to 15 hours of things I can tell you about. We've got 45 minutes. If there's something you want to know about, I'm happy to share it with you and tell you more about it from my perspective. Yeah.
I got a unique question. It's kind for you and people. I've been on TikTok for a year now. Actually, it was 1 year anniversary about a week ago, and I sell my books on there, and there's a few times where people comment that I wish he put subtitles so that I can understand him, and I started trying to do that, but it takes me an hour to do that. I'm just like, do I work on my voice? Do I subtitle my video, or can they just go themselves?
They can have all the way off. You do you, buddy. They can have all the way off. Yeah, with regards to putting subtitles on, yeah, certainly, I mean, I know there's auto captioning. It's imperfect, and it's frustrating when it goes, we think you're saying this, and you're like, no, but I can't just tell you try again. I have to go and do the work. So, you know what? It is your time, it is your life, it is your persona online. Someone else wants you to subtitle it, tell them, hey, I could really use some help. Maybe they'll do it. Maybe they'll help you. Because you shouldn't have to do that for them. They could do that for you. But that's not...
Because I did have a video go have 1 million views.
Okay. You're eclipsing me by 497,000. Yeah.
How do you, when you're given a longer script, how do you break it down so it doesn't feel so intimidating?
This just feels like a really hot mic, so I don't want to keep having like... So are we talking, check. Are we talking, is that still coming through to the back? Okay. Are we talking beyond like a commercial and things like that? Are we talking long form narration, audiobooks? Where do you mean break down the script? What level are we? Or do you mean like within a paragraph, how would I break that down for where I'm going to breathe, pause, emphasize, that?
I know I'll never be the same. Shook my world so hard again. Wish I washed away my sins. He's a dead man walking, blank stare in his eyes. Should have given up on the ones I trust. Never should have been surprised when they shot him.